You have to learn to put your project first, and you have to treat it like a job. And if you don't give it the amount of time that you would for any other job, you are never going to get your project done. And that's kind of how you do that. So I don't think my process would work for everybody, but I do have a process. But the first step is you have to put it first, and then you have to work on it almost like every day. And the way I ended up doing 50 states on the front end, which is how I sort of leapt into this, which is my process, was I decided to do one short story a week for 50 weeks. That's what the project was initially. It ended up being 50 states because each story takes place in a different state. It was just to do one short story, because I couldn't do a short story a day like the Daily Monster. I did a short story a week for 50 weeks, and I would actually share that on Facebook. Or kicked off, so you don't want to do that. But when I could do that, I ended up growing like a little fan base of like 1,400 people who would show up every week to read my short story. Of the short story as I can on Monday, and then I'll tinker with it for the rest of the week until it's finalized on Sunday. I'm done. I'm gone. And then I use that same process for Third Wheel, except it was a chapter a week. So I do Third Wheel took 24 weeks start to finish. Once I was in the project, every week I'd start a chapter. By the end of the week, I'd be done with it. And after 24 weeks, I had a draft that I was very happy with. Of course,
Wow.
it took a lot longer than 24 weeks to finalize the book, because it probably took another 8 months or so to like go back and clean things up and kind of tweak some things and get some feedback and editors and beta readers. And you can never have enough beta readers and editors, I'll tell you that. But in terms of authors, if you're struggling to get your project going, you have to find a block of time that works for you. I've heard of writers that do that. I don't know if I would do it this way, but 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Every day. You hear those stories. Or some people are like Sunday writers, or just find whatever it is and then set a deadline to hold yourself accountable to get a certain amount of work done.
When you're talking, it was reminding me of a quote I heard. I'll probably butcher it, but people often underestimate or overestimate how much they can get done in a day, but underestimate how much they can get done in a year. And I think working on it every day is very important.
And I always tell the girls on the team, I tell them, we're only working toward, especially right now, way ahead of the season, we're only working to be 1% better, this week. If you could be 1% better a day or 1% better a week, you're going to get to the goals that you want to achieve when it really counts. And I really needed that 30 years of growth as a writer to kind of end up where I am now, where I could write fiction that actually people want to read and sells.